Washington. I'm Jean Warnock. I'm the co-founder of the Family Success Institute. I'd like to welcome people, and hopefully you're all warm, except for Karen, who we know is warm, very warm. Jealous. I'm a wanderer right now. I've been to different homes because my home was destroyed in Florida. So I'm just going around to all my friends and hoping it gets fixed fast. So good morning, and I'm going to turn it over to Tom.
Thanks, Jean. And Jean always fails to mention that she's the co-founder of the Family Success Institute. So I will mention it for you, Jean, and thank you for that and everything else you do.
And that this meeting is being recorded, which was noted, I think, on most screens, but we'd like to make sure everyone's aware of that.
Assemblyman Atkins is here. So, Assemblyman, are you able to stay for a bit, or how do you want to do your inspirational work with us?
Inspirational. It's up to you. I'm just excited to be on here with all of our change makers, making it happen in the state. I'm excited.
Good. Well, you are the leader of the band. So it's just so great that you're here. Well, why don't we get going, and then why don't we give you an opportunity in a minute to really tell us what's going on and what you see and what we need to do. So
Absolutely.
I have a couple of brief thoughts. I usually have something prepared to talk to folks about, but I don't really today, except that these are strange days indeed. I mean, these are very, very unusual days. I mean, I'm maybe the oldest person here, but maybe not. But I've never seen anything quite like what we're, facing. And we have no idea what's going to come, but we have an idea, and it doesn't look so great. And the first thought that I had is that the work of the Family Success Movement is more important now than it ever was. And in terms of supporting one another and supporting people, particularly vulnerable people living in communities, there's never been a time when we all have to pull together and offer support to everybody we meet. And I do mean everybody. I don't mean just people who think the way that we think or look the way that we look, but I mean everybody, because this is a tumultuous time for all who are involved. And the biggest message that I have is, we do need to fight. We do need to be strong. We need to be more committed than we've ever been. But we have to do it with love. We have to do it with open hearts. We have to do it with unparalleled energy. And yeah. Timothy?
I applaud everything you said, but there is one further announcement that our co-prime sponsor of our bill in the Senate, who was a prime sponsor of this same legislation when she served in the Assembly, has joined us. And I wanted you to welcome Senator Angela McKnight. And when we get to the point of hearing from the Reverend Atkins, we're also going to hear from the senator on how important this legislation is.
Perfect.
So welcome, Senator Angela McKnight. We're thrilled that you have been able to find time to join us and for your steadfast commitment to this exciting venture.
Absolutely. We're so glad you could be here, Senator. And I'm going to shut up in 30 seconds and allow the legislative leaders to have your time with us. So I just to finish this up, because I mentioned we're moving into unknown territory here, and I'm old enough to know that we do have to be strong. We have to be ready to fight. We have to be more committed than we've ever been. But I also know that when you fight fire with fire, you get more fire. We have to do this with open hearts and open minds, and a kind of resilience and soft strength that we have our work ahead of us, but it's got to be done with open hearts and love, because if we add to the conflict, what we're going to do is get more conflict. And the people who are more vulnerable in our communities are relying on us to be there for them, and we have to do it in a way that we haven't before, really, to be honest with you. So with that, I will turn to the assemblyman and to the senator to offer some remarks and words and encouragement for us. Senator, do you want to lead us off?
Sure. Just give me 1 second. Hi, good morning. Sorry, I am getting myself together as well because I'm heading out to the league. So I'm getting myself together as well. So good morning, everyone. I hope you're doing well. And I'm listening to the morning, and you are absolutely correct. We have to show love. We have to show more love. And throughout the next years ahead of us, it's going to be, I feel that it's going to be a little rough, but together we will definitely prevail and make sure that we're here for our most vulnerable as well as for each other. So I look forward to continuous helping, supporting this piece of legislation so that more families can have a holistic, can receive a holistic approach for healing, for thriving and surviving. So I look forward to whatever else I can do with our assemblyman and others to make sure that this legislation moves forward. The appropriation moves forward, right? Because we need some money attached to this. So I am here, and I thank you all for allowing me to grace you this morning.
Well, we are just thrilled to have you in our midst and in a leadership position. And I wanted to tell you that the work is progressing. Even in your chamber, we have adding the sponsorship support of Senator Cryan and of Senator Stack. So your leadership is being followed by others, and with commitment to two things. One, to making certain, and this is what Senator Cryan said, that Senator Vitale, chair of the committee, is aware of the interest and helps move this bill to a point of getting a vote, which is something I'm sure you and Senator Gopal can urge him to do. And secondly, and obviously our assemblyman is essential here, that Senator Scutari, the Senate President, be prepared to post that bill and support it when it gets to the floor. We are making that progress. We'd love to get it done before year end. If it lapses over into early January, fine, because the committee schedule is difficult. But you're in the center of it, Senator, and your advocacy and consistent advocacy has been instrumental in getting us this far. So thank you for that and for getting us the next final 20 yards, if that's what it is.
Yes, the final 20, right? We got the ball. We're in offense, not defense. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you
And
so much.
who can say enough about what the Reverend Assemblyman, as I like to call him, the Reverend Assemblyman Atkins has done to bring this bill to us in these challenging or new political environment. Your voice, your advocacy, your steadfast support remains central to our success, not only on the legislation, but on the family success movement. So please share with us your thoughts before you head off to the league.
My thoughts is I'm so excited to be here with a warrior, with our senator, and she has been instrumental. Thanks to her, her chamber is growing in terms of support. And as you know, we've been actively advocating for the passage of this Community Recovery Family Success Act, which is A 4819 and S 2887. And I'll be honest with you, it's, you know, here's the thing. The Family Success Institute, our bill, the Family Success Act, is much larger than what just happened a couple weeks ago. So even though we have a whole lot of we have the political climate they say is beginning to change, it really doesn't matter because our work continues. And as you can see, it's growing because now we have the support of 2 other senators and under the leadership of Senator McKnight. Just think about it. Not only Democrats, but also Republicans are beginning to support and undergird this bill, which speaks volumes all in itself. And to be honest with you, it's just much larger than what occurred. Let me tell you about a story. I love telling stories. It's about 3 frogs. Three frogs. And I know y'all saying, we didn't get on the phone for this, but it's all right. So the first frog, they were trying to get out of the pit and they were stuck there, but it was 3 frogs and it was the frogs that were surrounding them. And as they were down there in the pit, they were saying to themselves, we can get out if we just jump out. That's all we got to do to overcome this obstacle is just jump out. So the first frog began to jump. He was jumping high. He used his mic. He used every tool in his dispensary to try to get out. He was just jumping and jumping and jumping. Look at the poor little frog. He's trying to jump out. And all of a sudden, he heard behind him all the other folks that were saying, you're not going to do it. It's too late. The climate is not right. You don't have the right things around you. And guess what? That little frog stopped. So the second frog stepped up and said, guess what? I'm going to do it. He didn't do it, but I'm going to do it. I got the tenacity. I got the strength. I'm motivated. We're going to do it. So he began to jump and jump. He's trying to jump out this great big pit, and he could do it if he just continues to do it. But he heard people around him that says, listen, we're late in the session. It's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. You're not strong enough. You don't have the right people with you. It's not going to happen. And guess what? He stopped. It didn't happen. So the third frog started leaping. He started jumping. He said, I can do this. I'm going to do this. And the people that were behind him began to say, he's not going to do it. You might as well stop. You're not strong enough. You're skinny. You're fat. You're just not conducive to make this thing happen. And in his mind, he just kept jumping. He just kept jumping. And guess what? After a while, he jumped out. And everybody around him was wondering how in the world did he do it when the first frog couldn't do it, the second frog couldn't do it, but why did the third frog do it? A friend of his spoke out and said he did it because he was deaf. I'm deaf to all that stuff that just happened a couple of weeks ago, and I'm focused on us making across the finish line. We're going to do this. We got the support. We got the rallying up. We secured $4 million in the 2023. And the funding that we have is about the framework for the state of New Jersey. And that's much bigger and much powerful because we're going to create something that's going to be here long after we're gone. So I'm fired up, got the senator on the phone, she's fired up, and we're going to make this happen and we're going to do it all together because we're going to be deaf to everybody else. Thank you.
Go ahead, Assemblyman. Yes, love it.
Thank you so much. Well, this actually leads into our beginning of Voices from the Community. And this is actually a moment I've been waiting for quite a while because people have heard me talk about what's happening in Monmouth County. And it's a truly remarkable movement, really. And our presenter is going to be the leader of the Monmouth Acts movement. But there are a number of people who have been with us right from the beginning and who are on the call today. And I just want to mention some of them before we ask our presenter to step forward with his ears closed. So First, I want to recognize Kathy Collins, who's the lead community partner in Monmouth Acts, Anita Voot, who is both an elected official as well as a leader at Brookdale Community College. We have the Monmouth County government team, Desiree White, who is an amazing leader, Nicole Sear, who I don't know if she's on or not, Candace Sparks, who's the Monmouth Acts coordinator, Lynn Seward, who is the head of the Behavioral Health Division, Dustin Knobloch, who's the head of the new Children and Families Division. Everybody comes together from all these different angles and walks of life because they're committed to a common vision for in support of the residents of Monmouth County. I think Ann Goldman may be on, who's been a tireless leader and the voice of families in Monmouth County, and who's now, I guess, in the process of retiring. But Ann, don't go too far because we need you. I don't know if Colleen Nelson is on, but Colleen is also in the midst of retirement, and she's just been an incredibly tireless leader. So this is a huge team effort. But now it's my enormous, with pride and enormous pleasure, I'd like to introduce the director of the Monmouth County Department of Human Services and the chair of Monmouth Acts, Peter Boynton. Peter is totally committed to the family success vision as embodied in Monmouth Acts. He has a brilliant mind, but more importantly, he has a kind and open heart. And just from getting to know Peter, he is what we want in men. He is a good man. So Peter, I turn the floor to you.
Thank you so much, Tom. Good morning, everyone. It is very challenging to start any presentation after someone throws that many flowers in front of you, but I hope to truly live up to those words. So as I was preparing to do this presentation, we had a small meeting before, and I'm a visual thinker, so I prepare everything visually and I kind of lay things out. And so I promised that I would not bore you with 1,001 slides. If you do need slides, we can provide them. But for those of you that do like to set your eyes on something, I will give you our website. It is monmouthacts.org. We are in the process of updating that information as we are transitioning from a more member-focused to a more community-focused website. So please feel free at any point in time to head over to that website in order to gather additional information. So my understanding is that you guys have actually been hearing a lot about Monmouth Acts. I'm sure you know that ACTS is actually an acronym standing for Assisting Community Through Services. And the intention behind Monmouth Acts is really to create a first of its kind cooperative. We have created a partnership between public and private entities, but really what we're looking to do is to create a collaboration between the entire community. We know that public entities and private entities represent a large portion of the community that deliver services, but the largest missing piece in most of those collaborations is the community itself. One of the challenges that we often have is that we do a lot of studying, we do a lot of surveys, we'll do a lot of research, we will poll the community, ask them 1,001 questions to determine what it is that they need. They tell everyone what they need, and then we do our best to deliver what we think they need out of what they've said. And so Monmouth Acts is really looking to do things a little differently. Not only have we brought together the public and private sector in order to plan how the government will fund and support services that are going out to the community, but we are also actively engaging members of the community to join in that conversation and to basically call us on the carpet when it's necessary, to share with us in real time what the success is and where the failures are. Let's not use flowery words like challenges. Let's call things what they are. Sometimes we do very well and sometimes we don't. And so this model really looks to capitalize on all of the resources in the community, leveraging all of those individuals and using what they're able to do best. Government is great at getting funding. That is a no-brainer. It's horrible at executing emergent needs. It's horrible at planning things that need to be done in a short time frame because government by necessity takes its time, makes sure that everything is accounted for. Nonprofits in our community are nimble, they're flexible, they're able to bend, they're able to move, they're able to adjust themselves, to pivot on a dime, and to present whatever is needed to the community in rapid fashion. They're also embedded in those communities and have already gained the trust of the community members that they've been connected with. And so by not attempting to reinvent the wheel, what Monmouth Acts does is it really infuses the agencies who are in the community doing the work, hearing from the community with the resources that they need in order to accomplish the work at a greater scale. Not only is it able to do that, but it's also able to ensure that less competition is created by that process. Traditionally, what government does is we say, hey, everyone, we've got $100,000 and we want to put that out there. And like piranhas, everyone has to kind of find their way to the meat when they smell blood in the water and fight each other in order to get their piece, in order to sustain themselves. But what we've done with Monmouth Acts is rather than saying, hey, everyone, let's fight over this and see who can be the fastest, who can be, the quickest to get their piece, let's figure out how we can work together to get this done. One agency may, by necessity, need to be the lead agency because they've been boots on the ground on this issue. They've been really tackling the issue in the community, but they may not have had the support that they need. They may not have been able to get the marketing done. And so by collaborating with other agencies who are able to connect individuals who are in need of the service but don't know that the services exist, we're really able to stretch the influence and the effect of the agencies that are members of Monmouth Acts. And so by using the guiding principles that have been established, and again, I won't bore you with a long read down of what those are, but if you go to our website, you'll be able to see exactly what those are. Had to throw another plug in there. What you'll find is that we are literally living out each of those principles. We are fostering collaboration on a day-to-day basis. We're helping agencies thrive through that collaborative aspect. By identifying that as a small agency, you may not have the capacity to get this one thing done, but you may have the resource that the community is missing. So let's plug you into a larger partner so that we can stretch out that influence, so that we can help you build capacity, so that we can ensure that all the individuals who need your services are able to do that. There is something that I refer to as our MAS. That's the Monmouth Act structural template. And that's really what allows us to get things done. So at the very top, you would see the Monmouth County Commissioners, who are essentially the individuals who give the ultimate thumbs up or thumbs down. They direct the flow of funding and the priority. And they've really been instrumental. I know that she's not on this call, but I will say that our Commissioner Kiley, has really been instrumental going to bat. She's been listening, coming to our meetings, hearing what it is that members of the community are saying and actually presenting those issues to the commissioners so that we're able to apply funding to the critical areas when they're needed. And then below them, of course, is the Department of Health and Human Services, which houses all of the government entities that are working hand in hand with our community partners. The Monmouth Act Steering Committee sits kind of between the department and between the MAC, as we refer to it, the Monmouth Acts Advisory Council, and essentially helps to filter our priorities with the community's priorities to ensure that Monmouth Acts is moving in the right direction. But all of the real work, all of the things that we get credit for doing are really done in the hubs. It's really in those smaller groups that are focused in some very key areas that we're able to get things done. And so if you'll give me about maybe another minute and a half, I just want to run very quickly through what our hub structure looks like. I was told that I should give lots of time for questions, so I just wanted to kind of give you a structural overview for how things function and give you a framework before I go into the meat of all of our accomplishments. But essentially, we have two tracks of hubs. We have the first track that I refer to as the Stages of Life hubs. That's our early childhood success hubs, the positive youth development hub, and the successful aging hub. Each of those focuses on a key age demographic and all of the cross-cutting issues that those demographics have, and really identifies how the resources that exist in the county can assist them. And when they find a void, they're actually able to work together in a collaborative way to find new ways to address that. Sometimes sending referrals up to the Department of Health and Human Services so that we can refocus some of our funding. And in other times, really getting the collaborating agencies to come together and to create on the ground solutions without our intervention. So the Early Childhood Success Hub essentially is working from birth to about 8 years old. Positive Youth Development Hub, then from 9 to about 17 years old, and Successful Aging Hub for individuals who are age 60 years or older. Beyond that, we have our services hubs, four in particular: our Housing and Homeless Hub, our Behavioral Health Hub, our Financial Empowerment Hub, and our Transportation Hub. The two primary issues that we see every time that we ask someone what are your issues, regardless of their age? It's going to be housing in Monmouth County. We are considered a very affluent county, but if you know anything about affluent counties, everyone in affluent counties aren't considered affluent. The more people are making at the top, the less people can make at the bottom and still meet in the middle at a pretty decent number. So even though the average household is bringing in over $100,000 in Monmouth County, we have a significant number of individuals who are living at or below what is considered the poverty threshold. And in Monmouth County, even if you are earning 200% of the federal poverty limit, you are still living in poverty because you are considered housing burden. You're spending at least 50% of your household income just to sustain your housing. And we know that houses that were 5 to 6 years ago selling for $200,000 are now selling for $500,000 and $600,000. So the affordability is moving further and further away from those individuals who are in our greatest need. The second issue is transportation. We unfortunately have great arteries of transportation that are all focused on the shore. If you're trying to make your way to the beach, I guarantee you can get there from just about anywhere. But if you're trying to access any of the resources, if you're even trying to get to the building that I'm sitting in right now in Freehold, that's a challenge. It's very difficult for you to get from the western side into a Freehold. If you are, living in Keansburg, it's challenging to get here. It may take you 2 to 3 hours just to get here. The nearest bus still puts you a little over a mile away, so you have to walk that distance just to get here if you're signing up for Medicaid or emergency assistance or GA. And so what we've been able to do by leveraging the Transportation Hub and a few others is actually create a series of programs that have been funded through non-traditional sources in order to provide people with transportation. The Wellness Transportation Program, for instance, has been able to connect individuals to rides so that they're able to get to grocery shopping, so they're able to go to doctor's appointments, so they're able to get to mental health appointments, so they're able to go and make their way to a rehab if they need to. Whatever it is that they need, as long as it has something to do with wellness and health in general, we've been able to fund that. And because we've been able to work with outside partners, we've been able to flex the program, at one point needing to pause it because it became so popular, and realizing that individuals who were using that program were using it because they didn't know that there were other options available. And we were actually able to, on the spot, retool the program so that we could direct them to the programs that best fit without having to prevent individuals from reaching wherever they needed to go to. So that has been a tremendous success. We've also done other outreach programs such as Monmouth Acts in My Community. And what Acts in My Community has been able to do is to take the services that are here in this building that I mentioned that no one is able to get to, and outpost those services in the community. We've talked to the partners who are in Monmouth Acts. They've been willing to give us office space in their buildings, and we've been able to outpost social workers and income maintenance workers in those locations on a scheduled basis, so that individuals who are transportation challenged are actually able to access those resources, are able to come in, find out what they may qualify for. If they're trying to apply for services and they've missed something, they're not now having to spend money to use public transportation to get home, wasting hours to get there, dig up whatever the paperwork is that they need, and then have to repeat that process again to come here and then go back. It's much easier for them to take a 5 or 10 minute walk to their house, rummage through whatever paperwork, find that missing document, and bring it back. Our staff are able to take the time and work with them. We're able to take multilingual staff and embed them directly in the community to ensure that individuals are able to get the assistance that they need in a language that they can comprehend it. And that's critical. Just because someone is able to speak a language doesn't mean that they're able to fully comprehend what's being said to them, especially in an emotional, highly charged moment. And so we take the time to make all of those steps in order to ensure that individuals are better able to connect to the resources that are necessary in order for them to be able to thrive. And my eye on the little clock on the corner of my screen is telling me that I'm coming very close to the end of my presentation time. So I want to pause for a little bit and take the time to answer any questions, and ask that if you have any questions afterwards, you can please feel free to reach out to myself or Candace Sparks, who is also here on the call. If you're not sure how to reach out to her, you can go to monmouthacts.org and you'll find contact information for Monmouth Acts there. Notice that extra plug. Sorry, Tom, I know you said a high-level overview, so I'm just providing that. And do we have any questions?
Well, Peter, I have a comment.
Fire away.
One of the things that we've been fortunate about with this learning community is we have people from all sectors, all parts of the state, all, interests, et cetera. And I'm looking at the screen and looking at some of the people that I've worked with over the years, and there are very, very few head government officials who can do what you just did in terms of your depth of knowledge, your willingness to hear the bad things in addition to the good things. So we're hoping that you're going to be the role model for a new way of thinking about what government can do, because your characterization of government is accurate, and the people that you brought on board are all, different kinds of leaders in government. So you're now a role model for the state. And I know you hate all these accolades, so I apologize, but you got them.
I appreciate them. It's not so much that I hate them. It's primarily because one of the things that I've learned through my very short career in life is that you're able to get very little done on your own. And fortunately, when you are the figurehead of something, people see all of the great work that's done and they're quick to throw accolades your way. But I am very quick to tell you that, before I got in the seat, Monmouth Axe was churning. Before I was a member of Monmouth Axe, it was doing a lot of good. I just have the pleasure of being the chief custodian of something that is phenomenal, and to work with a group of people who really have a heart and a passion for this and whose names very rarely get called out. And so it's not so much that I don't like the accolades, because I think that the accolades are deserved. I just don't think that my name should always be attached to them, because truly the individuals who are in those hubs, who are meeting, who are tackling the tough issues, are getting things done. They're the reason why we have a navigation system, so anyone in Monmouth County can pick up the phone and call a single number and can get any kind of assistance that they need with any issue that can arise on their life. But the individuals who are picking up the phone aren't the names that are getting called. Nicole Sear, who is overseeing that group, her name isn't the name that's constantly being thrown out. But the truth of the matter is, it's the work that they're doing every day. It's the challenges that they're facing every single day that make that possible. So, I appreciate the accolades. I do. I just wish there was a way to read out all of the names of all of the individuals who are actually getting that work done, because it's them, not me.
Can I jump on to what Peter said? I just thank you, Peter. I've been working in the trenches and with Peter for many years through other programs, so we know what it's like to be the people that have to implement these programs. And Bayshore in the northern Monmouth County is lucky enough to have the in-community staff that come in twice a month, and I can tell you that it's really been a lifesaver for people, because we're as far away from Freehold as you can get. And people they wait for the first and the third Friday of the month when we have Monmouth County Social Services with us. But we also know the days that they're going to be at Project Paul up the road, and they know the days they're going to be at Bayshore. So we often refer clients when they call to whoever's has a in-community representative that day, so they're not getting frustrated and they don't have to wait. It's really helped the vendors, the agencies like us, work even closer together. And I can't tell you how much it's helped people, and it takes a lot of stress off of people knowing they don't have to figure out, even if they do drive, it's a long drive and it costs a lot of gas to get out to Freehold, knowing that there's going to be somebody close by, knowing what day of the week it's going to be there, and the fact that we have copiers, we can print stuff, right? They're not like going to a pharmacy, a library, paying per page, notaries. So the system, that program is really working, and I've been involved in it from the beginning, which I'm happy to say. So Peter, I know we worked together when you were still like, figuring out what would work best. I know that you have a lot of insight on why programs don't always work the way they should. And so I'm really happy. I have been happy to see that now that you're, a mover and a shaker, a decision maker, all of us on this call know that you really know how hard it is to be in the trenches. So that's my little soapbox and accolades for Peter. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Darcy. It's been a pleasure working with you. I love it.
Hey, Peter,
Likewise.
I just wanted to say too, that I've done community action forums all over the state. And in Monmouth County, it was the only place where parents would talk about county government, talk about Monmouth Acts, and say, you know, the really different things that you've done that have met the needs of parents and families in Monmouth. And I think it's a model that we could all learn from, and other counties throughout the state could really start to embrace, to not only include, you know, agencies like Darcy's, but families, parents, people that feel that they have a voice now, or that they know that if they do call that one number, somebody's actually going to answer it. So, you know, kudos, and I hope we can spread this. And if you could put your contact information, email, or Candace's in the chat, that would be great, because people could reach out to you after the meeting.
Hi guys, how are you?
Kathy?
Yeah,
I'm sorry to intervene. I just want to give a few remarks on Miss Kathy Rowe. She always had the community reforms at the Oceanside Success Center too, and I always was there every meeting there, and you know, not being afraid to speak as a parent and getting other parents involved in the community and fighting for these programs that you guys put in place. Being a part of the Family Institute changed my life for the better, because I have somewhere to make copies, to fax, to go to a class or a workshop, and this make a difference in this community. And so Monmouth County, and I just want to thank you guys for having me a part of this meeting. And I really love this movement, and I'm, as a parent, advocating for you guys on the outskirts. And I'm just getting other people involved as well. And it's another thing going on with the United States Commission of Disabilities with the special needs. I will put that information down for a teacher shortage with special needs, and I also mentioned the Family Success Institute with that. But I thank you guys for letting me speak as well. Thank you.
Thanks, Sheena. You're fantastic. Thanks for being with us today and every day. Kathy?
yeah, I've been around a long time as a provider in Monmouth County, and I just wanted to talk about some of the more mundane but behind the scenes things that have changed, not sort of all the good window dressing and all the stuff that's obvious. One really important change was the whole way contracting was done for county funds for human services. The contracts were completely, I mean, the requests for proposals were completely redone. And the contract, the proposals had to reflect the values and principles of Monmouth Acts, sorry, my old life. Monmouth Acts, and it had to be evident, and it had to be throughout services, all the values that we've adopted. And that was a very really a different change for providers who had to respond to those and not just copy year to year the same proposals. Another thing was the reorganization of the Department of Human Services. It was reorganized slowly, step by step, to reflect the actual work of human services and the way human services were clustered. I'm not going to show you an organizational chart, but it was really wonderful to watch how that was done deliberately. And now there's a coherence about who you call at the state and who's the contact person that was never there before. So those are some of the other everyday things that are more evident to those of us on the inside, but very welcome. So thanks everybody on Monmouth Acts.
Peter, any final thoughts or any questions that people have? You know, I'm looking at Dustin Knobloch's face on this call, and Dustin is relatively new to the county, but one of the things that she has been, had to do and has delightfully done it is to relate to people from all different angles in the community and find common ground and peace. And it's not always been easy, but when people are able to get together, both around values, but also just as people to people, it's amazing what can happen. And this can happen everywhere. It's just, it's unique to Monmouth County in terms of the way that it developed, but The ability for people to get together as human beings above and beyond, whatever our walk in life is crucial to this movement. And I think it's, as I listen to Peter with the collaboration piece, it does require people to be honest about everything, including ourselves. So I will shut up. But thank you, Monmouth Act, so much, and Peter, thank you so much for everything you're doing. So that's Monmouth Acts. Now, Kathy Rowe is going to bring us two gentlemen from the capital city of New Jersey who are doing amazing work. And when I mentioned that Peter's a good man, I mean, I do use the term man very deliberately because we are in the midst of a realignment of not only values, but relationships. And, the role that men and fathers play in this is going to be crucial. And so, Kathy, I'm going to turn it over to you to bring in your colleagues and another set of great role models.
Thanks, Tom. I'm really delighted this morning to get to introduce two friends, a new friend and an old friend. My new friend is Brian Evans, and he is the CEO of the Fatherhood Center of New Jersey. Karen, who is in Hawaii, damn you, was a longtime collaborator when I was at Parents Inc., and we have always worked it hand in hand with the Fatherhood Center. But, I started to see this new program that you have, Brian, popping up on Facebook, which, yes, is the social media of old people like me. But this Healthy Families or Healthy Relationships, Healthy Choices program, and I would just say this is family success. The way that you and Calvin and Andre work with these young men and provide them with not only skill sets, but concrete things to make them be successful, like how you help them get driver's licenses, because without the ability to drive, how can you be successful? How can you get to school? How can you, go to a job? And I was just so amazed. I kept saying, Tom, we have to have this program on, and we have to have Brian and Calvin talk about it. Brian, as the new CEO, I mean, you have extensive experience, not only in nonprofit work, but in corporate work. You're so committed when I talk to you about men and fathers and families and wanting to take your programs and message, not only in where you are now in Mercer County and Burlington County, but statewide. So we're so excited to have you as my new friend, but also Calvin Thomas. Where are you, Calvin? Calvin and I go back a very long time. He is the principal and managing partner of Renewing the Minds LLC, which he works with his son, Andre Thomas. And together they created and are implementing this Healthy Choices, Healthy Relationships, Healthy Choices program. And not only that, but Calvin is probably one of the best trainers I have ever met. I used to think I was a good trainer until I worked with Calvin, and he taught me everything I needed to know. So I'm so excited to have you both on this morning to talk about your incredible work. Brian, I'm turning it over to you.
Well, thank you, Kathy. You're my new friend too, so I appreciate it. Thank you so much. I have a very bad connection here, so if I drop out, please raise your hand and let me know, because the internet's very unstable here. You guys hear me?
Mm-hmm. All good.
Okay, excellent. So yes, as you mentioned, Kathy, there are a number of programs that we offer here at the Father Center that are really centered around building stronger fathers and families. And so really addressing the social, economic, and emotional needs of our men, because we know that if we do that, we can have positive outcomes on children, positive outcomes on the family and the community at large. And so one of the ways that we do that is through a program that Calvin Thomas really put a vision around under Karen's leadership. And that is our Healthy Relationships, Healthy Choices program. And I do want to mention that we had our statewide Fatherhood Conference earlier this month. Our guest speaker was Reggie Wright, and he was very intentional about calling out the fact that we really need to hone in on investing in our young people, investing in our young men. And is so critically important. And that's really what HRHC is all about. It's, again, it's a program that helps our young folks build the skills, have the learning that they need to be able to have, bring them together with various career opportunities, give them a different perspective on life that they don't normally have, and they wouldn't have without this kind of connection and engagement. And so really being able to transform the lives of these kids, working with the 9th grade boys from Trenton's 9th grade academy. And, Calvin, as you mentioned, and Andre are just phenomenal. A session with them, and it's really transformational just in terms of their outlook and, what the kids to them, and they have such an impact in the community. And so I want to give Calvin to talk about this program. It is a great program. We'll continue this year. We have an office in Burlington, and we're looking to expand further north as well. And so this is the type of program we want to be able to expand statewide. And so, Calvin, please take it away.
All right, thank you. Thank you. Hello, everyone. It's great to be able to present to such a diverse group. It reminds me of my days leading the Trenton Stakeholders Group, which is basically a group of Trenton area stakeholders from the nonprofit and from the business sector and education sector that come together on a bi-monthly basis to really talk about collaborations. And during my 25 years of leading this type of group, it was really about how do you utilize organizations within your community to really build a coalition or a foundation for success for our youth. And so in 2018, Karen and I sat down and talked about, creating this vision to work with young boys. My son and I have always talked about coming together and developing a program to really work with young boys. And we really felt that starting at 9th grade was that year of transition for young boys from boyhood to manhood, based on our personal relationship. Andre and I, it was those years where I was losing my influence and he was really relying more on his peers for making decisions. And so, for parents, we struggle with our kids once they reach that adolescent age and into high school because we feel that we've lost control of them. So that's why we picked 9th grade, because that is the transitional year. This program has actually evolved over the last 8 years. So I'm just going to kind of take you through the process, because I think the learning is in the process and how this program has evolved, and how we're now looking at this as a family success program, because unless we really service the entire family or work with just the young boys, is more difficult. But anyway, we started with the 9th grade academy, where we partnered with the Boys and Girls Club because we really wanted a way to transport our boys from 9th grade academy in Trenton to the Father Center for weekly leadership sessions. And so the way it works is that we actually developed a partnership with the Boys and Girls Club. Our boys become members of the Boys and Girls Club. So now we've actually given our boys transportation after school to the Boys and Girls Club every day, except on our program day. The Boys and Girls Club drops our boys off to the Father Center for the 2-hour leadership academy. And then they come back to pick our boys up when we're done and take them to the Boys and Girls Club. So there is a synergy between the Boys and Girls Club and the Father Center in order for us to provide transportation for our boys. We actually wanted to do this program at the Father Center because we wanted to provide a professional setting for the boys in this transformation, or we call this mindset transformation program. All of our boys in our Leadership Academy wear Dr. White lab jackets. They have a name tag on their lab jackets that says doctor and then their first name. They refer to me as Dr. Calvin, and they refer to my son as Dr. Andre. He goes by the name Dr. Dre. But we use that as a way to really give the boys a sense of pride that these lab jackets are a way to show that you have the potential to become a doctor, whether it's a PhD or a medical doctor. We also want to create an environment to where we're going to spend 1 full year from September to June on a weekly basis examining our personal behavior. So it's really a way for the boys through an activity-based curriculum to really think about why they make decisions, how their habits are formed, and how they can begin to really change their way of thinking for success. After our first year of the program, we realized that to have these boys leave us and then go off into the main campus high school, Trenton High School, without some kind of connection would not be a healthy decision. So we then created, after year 2, an alumni program. So our boys enter our program in the 9th grade, and after a year of, we call mindset transformation, leadership development, they then transition into our alumni program, which is called a career job readiness program. So we actually work with the boys now from 9th grade through their high school years. During the alumni program, we meet with them on a monthly basis, mainly for talking about careers, helping to coach and guide them into the right activities that they should be engaged in order to pursue their career goals, whether it's college, trade school, or workforce. So we really begin to shape their minds to be prepared for those possibilities or those decisions while they're in high school. Then we realized that that wasn't really enough, because even after they graduate from high school, most of our boys fall through the cracks because they still need some kind of guidance and coaching. So we extended our alumni program to where, as long as you want to be engaged in our program, you're in it for life. So we now have boys that join our alumni meetings that are high school graduates. We have a couple students that was in our first year program in 2017 to 2018. One is a senior at Harvard University. Another is a senior at Rochester's Institute for Technology. We have a couple of students that are in Stockton University here in New Jersey. They join our meetings to also talk to our alumni students, the high school students, about the challenges that they will face if they decide to go on to college, and what are some things that they need to be prepared for. We also have some of our alumni that are working in the workforce. One is a manager at a CVS that started right out of high school at CVS. We have a couple that are in the trades. One is a licensed plumber with a blue sales license. They come in and they also become mentors and coaches for our high school alumni to really begin to talk to them about some of the challenges that they're going to be facing in the workforce. trade schools. So it's really about how to develop their mindset to be prepared for the obstacles and challenges that they're going to inevitably face. So then we realized that that wasn't enough. So over the years, we realized that unless we start working with the families and helping parents become successful, that a lot of the work that we were doing was in vain because they were in an environment at home that wasn't healthy. So we began to create opportunities for parents to join our workforce development on programs for either job training, certification training, job search. At the Father Center, they do resume writing. So we really begin to plug our families of our boys into services that really help them feel successful. Because we've learned that when the family or the parents are successful, it's going to really create successful children. So we had to really begin to develop a more family approach than just our leadership academy. And as Kathy mentioned, you know, we had to develop a New Jersey license program because a lot of our high schoolers did not have driver's license. They can't get certifications for any other type of trade school without driver's license. For example, they can't get a forklift license without a driver's license, or CDL license. They would need a driver's license. We implemented in our program family case management. We have a caseworker that calls the families, the parents of all the boys in our alumni program and our 9th grade academy as a check-in call to find out how the kids are doing, and are there any services that we could assist them with to provide them with, you know, social services in case they're struggling. We've had some success there. We've kept a couple of our families from being evicted from their apartments because of back payment and rent. We've also were able to help some of the fathers of our boys that may have been incarcerated, coming out of incarceration, to transition into some workplace development programs to help them transition into the workforce. And we also provide the parents individual coaching. So the parents now are becoming a part of our network. Our partners in our program are critical. You guys talked about collaboration. We can't do this without partnerships with a lot of organizations. I mentioned one of our partners, Boys and Girls Club. Another is Grounds for Sculpture. We take our boys to Grounds for Sculpture on a monthly basis for a field trip to really introduce them to the arts. We also get free tickets that we now have the boys invite their families to go to Grounds for Sculpture, just so that we can really create this kind of family environment. We have a partner, Trenton Digital Connect. They provide all of our boys with free laptops while they're in our 9th grade academy. IELTS is one of our major partners. My son works at IELTS, and so we provide certification training, not just for our high schoolers, but for the parents. A lot of our high school boys, we put them into internships like IELTS has this called Climate Corps program. It's about a 19-month program where they learn about the climate. They learn a lot of trades around green jobs, and they're paid $19 an hour. So we introduce our high schoolers in our alumni program to the workforce to prepare them for post-graduation. And obviously our major partner is the 9th grade academy. And because of our success in our program, the principal wanted us to really expand our reach. And so we've implemented, this is our second year, an in-school program. So outside of our ninth grade academy and our alumni career program, we now run a leadership program at the ninth grade academy where we are reaching about 45 additional ninth graders in 3 separate cohorts for over a 7-week period for each of those series. And we are, that program is called Making Proud Choices, or Making Healthy Choices, because we want to introduce those boys to some of the other nonprofits that provide services and programming that are enrichment for them. One is Upward Bound program. We have a couple in Planned Parenthood, Spill the Tea program. We have a nonprofit that runs a Trenton Peers program around sexuality, and they educate their peers on safe sex. So we're really trying to introduce these ninth graders into the community to participate in programs that will benefit them as they begin to transition into high school. Anything that you want to add, Brian? I mean, it's so overwhelming.
Yeah, so I just want to say that, you know, what's wonderful about this program, as Calvin mentioned, you know, when our young folks graduate from this program, become alumni, they are then, as Calvin mentioned, eligible for our Bridges to Success program, if they take that track in terms of workforce development. And we are continually adding new pathways to career opportunities, including a partnership with a New Jersey Manufacturing Extension Program to folks can actually become welders in a short period of time and get certified. We've got a solar panel installation program. We're working on a number of other programs with Princeton University, including this whole career path around photonics, which no one knows what that is, but it's anything that deals with light and technology. And so these are all ways that we can create pathways for our young men that graduate from this alumni program.
I can only say that this is the program is just so comprehensive, and it's evolved, and because we're learning as we go. Even the curriculum that we offer the boys every year is tweaked because we have to deal with the current issues and times that they're facing. And so one thing that we've learned is that, you know, you can't have a cookie cutter program that you run every year exactly the same way. And that, you know, if you don't create ways to morph and to evolve and to modify, you know, you end up, you know, really not successful. One example would be in our alumni program. Initially, our alumni program, we were meeting with the boys in face once a month for a monthly alumni meeting to really have the boys talk about some of the challenges they're having while they're in a high school. Challenges that they're having at home. And it wasn't until the pandemic when we had to shut down and we were forced to now do our program through Zoom. And so it was new for everybody, but it was a blessing because we now do our alumni program through our Zoom. One, it doubled our participation. Two, a lot of our boys or families are always in transit, so they don't stay in the area. So some of our alumni, some are graduates from high school or some are still in high school, but they're no longer living in New Jersey, but they're still participating in our alumni meetings. You know, and so it was like, wow, if we would have stayed face to face, these boys would not have had that opportunity. So by using technology, we're able to now reach our boys, even if they move out of the area and go to a high school that's not in Trenton, they're still part of our alumni group. Our college students participate from their campus during our alumni meetings. And so, we found that using the technology has really created a way for participation that we didn't realize until COVID forced us to kind of go virtual. Everything was always face-to-face, face-to-face. And so we've evolved. And we started this program in 2017. As I think you mentioned, Thomas, about, times are going to be kind of difficult because there's a new administration. Well, we started this program when that administration was coming in for the first time. So we knew the importance of this program back then when that administration was in office. And now, fast forward, here we go again. And thank God we built the infrastructure to withstand anything that's going to come. Right now, that's my least concern. Back in 2018, I was really concerned because it was something that we were not, it was scary. But we made the adjustments. Now we have the infrastructure, we have the partnerships, we have the collaborations, we have the model. And so now it's a movement that no matter what happens, it's not going to end.
Fantastic. Does anybody have any questions for Brian or Calvin? Comments?
Kathy, I have a brief comment, and then we got to move along because we try to get people through the meeting on time. But just listening to the Monmouth experience, and then Brian and Calvin, what you're doing in Trenton and Burlington, we keep talking about collaboration, but I think one of the most important aspects of collaboration is that it creates connection at a time when, things feel like they're being pulled apart. And I remember when I first came to New Jersey and joined government, somebody said to me, if you could figure out a way to unleash the genius of the New Jersey community, anything can happen. And if you're trying to do it top down through government, nothing will happen. And it just as I hear every week, we hear, amazing work being done in different places. I think we really need to rename our voices from the community, teachers and leaders from the community. And the more that we all can connect with one another, this movement can really grow. And Karen Andrade Mims, you must be a very, very proud mom of this team because they're really amazing. So thank you. And we need to move along to Mr. Cardin.
Oh, Tom, can I just ask Brian and Calvin to put their contact information in the chat so that if anybody wants to reach out to them later, they can?
Yep.
Thank you so much.
Terrific.
Thank you.
Timothy? Tim?
Sorry, forgot my mute button. I am a little overwhelmed this morning by the power and insight of the speakers and participants that we've heard. And I have to start, frankly, with Sheena. Your comments and your commitment are so extraordinary as a parent and as a volunteer and as someone who is embedded deeply in their community and what you are doing every day to make the world a better place, not simply in the Atlantic City area, but across the board. And to hear Peter Boynton articulate something that is cultivated in Monmouth County right now, of government actually acknowledging the adeptness and the importance of nonprofit and community-based organizations and their ability to do things that government simply is constrained, if not unable, to perform effectively, but to team and to collaborate and to support. That is at the root of what the Family Success Movement aspires to achieve. And when I listen to Brian and Calvin, And think about what Karen Andrade Mims has done. Here's what comes to me. We reluctantly, perhaps, but essentially welcomed or allowed, perhaps is a better term, women into the workforce on a daily basis starting 50 years ago in a manner that hadn't existed before. What we never did as a society, but equally as the institutions, meaning our government and others, was welcome fathers into the home as an equal partner in the critical role of raising kids. And in one of our community action forums, which we'll come to shortly in Monmouth, a group of fathers used the phrase, well, where do you think we are? What is WIC? It is women's, infants, and children. I don't see any dads there. So the importance of the role, which Calvin, I think you really articulated in the Ninth Grade Academy is a wonderful example, is important. But it's actually our acknowledgement of looking in that direction and building those incentives. And within this learning community, there is a more diverse and empowered group of people working to make that happen than I've seen anywhere else. And it is as essential in building family and building community as any of the other activities we're engaged in. So I'm thrilled to be in the audience on this. And I will now give you a chance to hear from, but not see, our Director of Strategic Initiatives, Erica Harris DeValve, who is the early bird on today's program because she's in California and got up at 5:30 so that she could join us on time. And it has a very shaky Wi-Fi connection, but is going to join us to share with you where we are in the Community Action Forums project, and also very quickly how we are moving ahead with our sequel event, the statewide summit on family success scheduled for next year. So, Erica, can I turn it over to you?
Yeah, I can see that.
Can you turn up your volume?
Sure. Okay, how about now? Is that any better?
I can hear. Can others hear? Raise your hand if you're having difficulty hearing.
Oh, no.
Okay.
Okay, great. Sorry, Wi-Fi is a little shaky. Hi everyone, I'm Erica. I'm sure by now many of you are super familiar with FSI's Community Action Forum initiative, and I'm partially so sure about that because so many of you have helped us make it happen. Just been really enthusiastic partners in hosting these community action forums really across the state. A big goal
You're gonna have to speak up because it's a little blurred.
Okay. Let me try something really quick.
Hopefully you won't be waking all your neighbors.
Okay, give me 1 second. Is this any better?
That's a little better if it stays steady. And you
Okay.
can be brief because we know how hard you're working and love the work you're doing.
Okay, I'll be brief. So yeah, I just wanted to give a quick update on the community action forums. We have had 38 so far, which has been amazing. One of our big goals for the last year was to really expand the regional footprint of the community action forums. And I feel like we really were able to accomplish that goal because of the help of so many people on this call, getting us just into counties and towns that we really hadn't reached before or didn't have, specific connections through the community action forums before. So that's something that I'm really excited about in terms of the initiative and the program. If there's anybody on the call who isn't familiar, the community action forums are essentially intentional community-led discussions that really enable community-based organizations and community members to articulate their observations, their goals, their dreams for their communities in these discussion forums that are also intentionally documented to really have greater impact in terms of policy and advocacy. So with that being said, we are now looking ahead to our next step, which will be the statewide summit. And this will be at the end of April 2025. And the goal in the statewide summit will be to bring together leaders from government, business, nonprofit organizations, health, education, philanthropy, et cetera, to hear directly from the community members who participated in these community action forums. And we really want to create a forum where we can foster collaboration and really foster tangible impact in the areas that these community members have raised as being problem areas in their communities, or even just something that we've really emphasized is engaging your imagination for really articulating your aspirations, your dreams for your community. So yeah, we really, through the summit, intend to solicit some concrete commitments and shared responsibility amongst these different sectors, and have an impact on how resources are used, how budgets are created and spent, and what services are available to these families. And we want to do so through really the voices of the community members who have participated in these forums for the past couple of years.
Well said and well summarized, and applause and thanks for the extraordinary work that you have done, largely on your own, embracing this community of support and guidance, and not imposing your views, but rather eliciting the views of community and capturing it as well as we have. We have videos of almost every community action forum for anyone who doesn't know that, and they can be found either on our website or through our YouTube channel. And if you have interest, please reach out to any of us. But Erica, you might just put your contact information in the chat.
Sure.
So that people can follow up not only on the community action forums, but to learn more about the statewide summit as it develops and plans get made with the collaboration of many of the individuals already on this meeting. And with that, Tom, I will turn it back to you at 9:50. You're on mute.
Sorry. Just going back to Monmouth Acts for a minute. And again, I'm looking at Candace Sparks, because Monmouth County was able to organize the community action forums as part of Monmouth Acts, and I think had the largest number of community action forums and the most diverse. But because of Monmouth Acts being an integrating factor, the voices of the community became very, very clear and important to the people in power. And I'm also looking at the faces of these Monmouth County leaders who hate to be in the public eye. Desiree White and Nicole Sear, and Desiree's going to duck and Nicole's going to giggle, but their ability and their intuition in recognizing and working with people in local communities is unparalleled. So the thing that I take away from this meeting is this movement. It's Gene and I, so why don't we try to get a couple of people together? And what has emerged from this is like absolutely incredible. And Tim has been a blessing, and his leadership and vigor has been, astounding. Now is the time for us to do what we need to do. This is a pivotal time for, I don't know where you are in your lives, but I can tell you that in my life, I'm at a pivotal time, and I'm having to confront things at an old age that I never have confronted before, and I need support. But I think that, together, I don't think there's anything we can't do. And Calvin's inspiration that we are building infrastructures that are going to survive whatever we have to survive probably is the last word that we need to think about. So I thank every single one of you for, this is trite things. Thank you for what you do. Well, thank you for what you do. and thank you for who you are. But we have a lot of work to do together, and I think that if we can do it with grace and open heart and some quiet in the middle of all this, we can really make a difference in our world. So thank you all very, very, very much. We look forward to continuing this. Calvin, you're a gem. Thank you so much. And Peter, you are another gem. So thank you very much. And I'll let you get on with your day. Thanks a lot, folks.